We, the members of the secret order of alchemical actors, do solemnly commit ourselves to a full and honest telling of the history of the occult as far as we know it. All right, Luke, we are back for another interview special, going all the way to Thailand by way of the United Kingdom today. Luke, who's with us?
Well, joining us today, we have Sheer Zed, writer, Buddhist shaman, musician, and artist contributing to the Haitian Press, the Indie Shaman, Rituals and Declarations, and many other publications, a counterculture activist, underground music artist, and magical practitioner for more than 30 years from Bristol.
Welcome, Sheer Zed.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully things aren't too hot over there and it'll be a nice, cool conversation.
Well, I hope so too. I've just pulled the fan closer, so hopefully it will be cool.
Perfect. So we want to talk to you today. You've just put out a new book that's exploring Thai tattoo magic and specifically like Sak Yant. So to give the audience some context, especially those unfamiliar, I want to kind of start there. Could you give us essentially a layman's description of what a Sak Yant tattoo is and how does that differ from a regular tattoo, both in its like conceptual design as well as its spiritual significance?
Right. There's a little bit to unpack there because you mentioned the word regular tattoo. Mm-hmm. And I don't, and as we just discussed previously, we were just chatting away and we were disclosing certain things about ourselves. I honestly don't think there is such a thing as a regular tattoo. They're all very special, and they all have a significance in our lives. They are living things, living, breathing, important, meaningful things in our lives that have different feelings attached to them, have different motivations. We know, there are certain things. You mentioned that, this person had to do this thing in order for this to happen. And, I think that's endearing and it's special. I understand what you mean by the idea of regular tattoos being, it's something that people do now. It's nearly everyone has one. Not quite, obviously, but it's not an unnatural thing. It's seen as a thing that happens. It's a rite of initiation. It's also meant a plethora of other things as well. I was looking at the history of tattoos actually, and in 1991 they discovered this the oldest mummy in Europe, and they found it in the Ötztal Alps, which is on the Italy-Austria border.
Okay. And
this mummy, they call him Otzi the Iceman. And he has tattoos. This is like 3,000. I mean, this is Ice Age stuff. This is, he's been frozen, and his tattoos. I mean, he was around 2,000 years before acupuncture occurred in China, and they found tattoos on Otzi, and these were like lines, black lines, all at certain points, at various meridian points, which nearly, but not quite, mirrored the meridian points of acupuncture in Chinese medicinal medicine. So this is like before all of that kicks in, and they find Otzi just frozen, mummified actually. And that was revealed in 1991. There's a very interesting person, a practitioner called Colin Dale, and he's a tattoo artist, but he's diversified, and his work on tattooing is quite amazing. He's gone backwards. Instead of going forwards, he's gone backwards, and he's brought back many different, done the research obviously, but discovered many different new ancient forms of tattooing. So you can just check out his work. he is known within the tattooing community and is highly respected. So in this kind of huge mix and all these different ideas, reasons, feelings, and throughout history, human beings have always tattooed themselves in one form or the other. And to go even further, Egyptian mummies have been found to have tattoos on them. It's a very ancient practice. In terms of sak yant, sak meaning to tap, and yant, short for yantra, this has about a history of, there's over 2,000 years in Southeast Asia, at least. And the idea of yantra comes from India. And so over time, and that's, again, allegedly goes back, 11 to 10,000 years. But I in the book, I say it's something in the region of 3,000 because the Harappan Indus Valley civilization, they formalized it to a level that was quite sublime, and it relates to deities. But as it traveled, this idea traveled, Buddhism was seeded in Thailand in the 3rd century because the Indian emperor, Ashoka, he sent Buddhist emissaries over to Thailand from India. And so Buddhism was seeded as an idea in Thailand in the 3rd century. And then we have around the 11th century, safely, we have Theravada Buddhism as the dominant form. Between those 2 points, a number of things happened. People started tattooing themselves in different ways. I think the Chinese, they observed, people with what were called skin garments south of their borders. And that is one element of it. It's seen that the Chinese recorded and said, oh, they've got skin garments on.
You mean their geographic borders, right?
Yeah, the Chinese geographic borders, right, south.
Otherwise, it's a bit hard to see the skin garments.
Yeah, south of those borders, yeah. Yes.
Oh, well, they're full leg. Some of these Thai tattoos are leg garments, solid blocks of color on the leg. You should see them.
Oh, wow.
Incredible.
Very cool.
Just, they are, and very painful.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Imagine solid blocks of color on your legs. It's just solid. It's mind-blowing, some of this. So, it's an ancient practice that has gone on for hundreds of years in Thailand. Actually, there are, pardon the phrase, a number of people feel they have skin in the game in terms of tattooing. Who originated the term? Who in Southeast Asia owns it? Because sak yant is made up of many different elements. It has Lana, Com script, Khmer, Cambodian script. It has Thai, Old Mon, Burmese, and most importantly, Pali. And Pali is the scripture, the Buddhist scripture of the sutras. It's Buddhist sutra language, the language of Buddhist sutras. So there is an association with sak yant, sak meaning to tap and yant short for yantra, that embodies Buddhism, for me anyway.
Yeah.
Which is what attracted me to it, because I'm a Buddhist. I try to be, but that's what attracted to me was this idea. I mean, it evolved over many years, as I said, but how it drew in many other forms as well. I mean, there's animism. So I have a sak yant of a tiger. And this tiger, Sir Yen, is extremely powerful, and I can draw on its power if I need to. at any point. The Ajahn that gave it to me, Ajahn Tui, he gave me the instruction. Well, firstly, the application of the Sakyant, in the book, I go into great depth about what happened the day I turned up at his Samnak, which is a name for a place a practitioner works from. A whole bunch of things happen. So the book explores 7 years and 4 different pilgrimages I made over those 7 years. And during those 7 years, my father died, my sister died, and my mother died. And right slap in the bang middle of it, the pandemic went down. So it's a panoramic global spiritual road movie. It's bonkers.
So what got you started going to Thailand, Sheer?
I've in the 80s, I got into this group called Coil. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Coil. I don't know if you heard of them.
I hadn't. I had to look them up as I was reading about it.
Well, basically, just having some water here.
It's all good.
Basically, Coil, made up of John Balance and Peter Christopherson, and they are an experimental electronic group. And they appeared, and I was still into music, and I found this album, and this album, it's a very important album for me because on it were a number of people I would get really into over time. And it was a compilation album called If You Can't Please Yourself, You Can't Please Your Soul. And it was on the Sun Bazaar record label. And Coil were one of the groups on that extraordinary record. So I got into Coil and I paid attention to them. I kept looking at what they were doing and what they were up to. And at one point they went over to Thailand numerous times. In fact, one of them ended up living there after the other, John Balance, passed. He died. So I was always interested in a way, following these spiritual breadcrumbs. And that's what my life has been, a series of spiritual breadcrumbs, things that have been dropped, and I've gone, and I have a very strong intuition. For some reason, I've been blessed with that, and my intuition has led me. I've followed my intuition. And I gone, I should do this. And there's no reason for me consciously to do this, but the opportunity arose. So I took it, and I went and I did it. And then it went into a series of different things. When you accept something, it goes off and does other things. Life's like that. If you accept one thing, there's a logic to it, an occult logic. And you are drawn in to the process of self-discovery and discovery of many other things along the way as well. So spiritual breadcrumbs. I've always been interested in Asian culture. And as a child in the 1970s, I was exposed to different things. The show, and I've mentioned this numerous times, I mentioned it in the book, the show Kung Fu with David Carradine. And that was very important to me. I mean, it struck a major chord with me. And there are other things along the way which have done that, have led me on a pathway. And I've looked at Buddhism and I've studied it, and I've tried to practice it in varying degrees over the years. But this was a major eschatonic shift when I received my first Sakyant. And that was a major change for me. It was like I got bootstrapped to an intense and profound ritualistic ordeal. Because I was frightened of needles. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be involved in needles. I didn't want to be involved in pain. But there you go. That's what happened. You find yourself in situations thinking, what the heck? Who's writing this? And, you know, you follow a deity. A deity is contained in each and everything in our lives, and that deity speaks to us in secret language. And if we're careful, we can decode that language and follow that language, and it will take us places that we never thought existed. It's as simple as that.
So how did you become introduced to this Sakyan tattooing?
I started looking around at groups online and started seeing different groups and what they were doing. And I was given an opportunity, in the book I talk about it at length, that I was given an opportunity to go over to Thailand, and I took it. And I went through a third party, and I had people, the last time I went to Thailand was through a group called Majia Thai, and they do this kind of thing whereby they can arrange for you, because it's a complex process. For me it was, to meet an Ajahn. And an Ajahn is a person of very high learning. It is a person who has been trained to a considerable depth of understanding of many different things. They've spent time inside a Buddhist monastery. At least, for me, anywhere from 1 month to 6 months to a number of years in order to comprehend and absorb and process the language. So, and the knowledge as well. And in the fourth pilgrimage, I mentioned Majia Thai because their photos are in the book. Some of their photos, not all. Because you can't take a selfie when you're having a tattoo done. It's just simply not possible, So they organized very possibly the most successful of the pilgrimages for me. And I was there for 2 weeks, and a lot of things happened. And the tattoo that I received from Ajahn Tui, the tiger tattoo occurred. That it was during that time that this happened. A lot of things. I say that the fourth pilgrimage was the most successful. Each were successful in their own way, but I mentioned the fourth because it was a finishing and an accumulation of 7 years of pilgrimages. It was the summit, and I felt like I'd reached a summit of achievement in terms of going through magical rituals and going through the embodiment of Sakyan. I didn't get plastered immediately. Some people go over there, right, and they're covered in they get absolutely covered. And I honestly, gently advise people, just get 1 or 2 to start with. The first experience I had, it was an invisible tattoo, an oil tattoo. It was completely invisible. And if you've never been tattooed before, the experience it's like being plugged into a power station. It is full on.
I found it similar to being like, if you've ever been scratched by a cat, but imagine that scratch just continuously happening, and then the numbness kind of takes over from there.
That's a very good description, Luke, of tattooing. The method of tattooing in Thailand, the Sakyan tattooing, is a metal rod.
Mm-hmm.
And it uses a style called the fish egg style. And as you know, fish eggs are little tiny round circular dots. So they do this tapping, and it's consistent. And that is what I experienced the first time. It was Ajahn Nanting. And Ajahn Nanting gave me an invisible Maceracity Sakyan. And afterwards, I felt almost completely different. I felt like another person. It was a transformative experience. And, I had it late in life. Quite late. And a lot of things had happened in my life up to that point, and then suddenly that happened. And it's like having a piece of magical software placed onto the hardware of your body.
Well, let's dig into that a bit, because you talk about how your first experience produced this full change within your body. Give our listeners some more context to the Sakyant itself. What is the magical or mystic principles working behind it?
Well, they are designs that are encrypted with various different languages, as I mentioned. And these combine together to create an effect, a magical effect. I personally feel that the language of Sakyant, either a pictorial picture of, say, a tiger, or I have a centipede across my back, and this in Thailand is seen as a very fortunate, lucky symbol. But also, it's a creature that has a bite worse than a spider, because the centipede over there in Thailand are enormous, and they are to be feared, and you do not mess with a centipede, believe it or not. You think over here, it's like, oh, it's just a small thing. No, they're thick, they're massive, and you get a bite from one of those, it's going to hospitalize you.
Mm-hmm.
It will put you into the hospital. So when I had I was just having this because I was attracted to the centipede. And the centipede on Sakyant, it has all these extraordinary little legs which are made up of a symbol called an unalom. And an unalom is the sign of the Arahant. The magical sign of the Arahant. And so imagine having 100 of those symbols on your body. And then along the line to describe the centipede is Buddhist scripture. So you have a combination of elements. And also, as the Ajahn is putting this onto your body, he is chanting a mantra silently within himself, applying the Sakyant to your body. And only he knows the correct mantra, or kata, as they call it in Thailand, for that particular Sakyant on your body. And another thing, the place, the setting. You are in a samnak. You are on consecrated ground. Basically, it's going into a shrine. It's an operational shrine that is fully consecrated. It is consecrated ground, and you are there in front of the shrine. And then the Ajahn, who is a lay person who has spent time inside a Buddhist temple, and then has disrobed to become an Ajahn, so they can do regular stuff like get married and have a life, do things. Because when you become an Ajahn, well, there are Ajahns that are monks, and then there are Ajahns who are disrobed and are called white-robed Ajahns, and they can do pretty much anything. But Ajahns that are monks, they have to uphold precepts, and there are a hell of a lot of precepts that they have to uphold in order to retain the position of being a monk. It's very, very difficult. And these monks, they train many, many different Ajahns. They inspire them, they train them. I saw on Facebook the other day this recent Ajahn who's come through, and he, Ajahn Fluke, he had, I saw a photograph of him, of his teacher, who's handing over this big, massive thick pile of books and all kinds of literature over to the student who's in there. There it is, the Witcher, the knowledge is being handed to you. And it was inspiring to look at it. It was just a huge, massive pile of information, of diagrams, processes, rituals, you name it, the whole kit and caboodle. And that happened, that's just one instance, one particular lineage in many, 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 many countless different situations. It's just one of many. So as you're there having the Sakyant, in the samnak, with the Ajahn, the spell is being cast on your body. The ink has been mixed, especially. It can include many different elements. And then the rod, that's another thing as well. That's going into you many times. It's a whole thing. To be honest with you, at one point I was tripping balls. I was high as a kite. You don't have to take drugs with this stuff, guys. I'm telling you, it's a full-on mystical, explosive experience. intense. I mean, I mean, maybe it's the the endomorphines entering the body, but I had visions. I had full-blown visions while I was receiving Sakyant, and that's in the book. I describe these in detail, that's why one of the compelling reasons I had to write this book, because so much happened, and I thought, my God, I have to tell somebody. I need to write this book, for God's sakes. It was just, I was driven to write it, and it's taken me years to process all of this, and I'm now in a place whereby it's left my body and it's now in the printed page. It's a relief. I feel like a huge burden has left my body, and I go, oh, thank God for that. I mean, I can unburden myself, and I can just you can take it now. It's yours. It belongs to the world. It's yours. All right, and there it is, and it's deeply personal. I mean, I talk about things that I've never said to anybody before. I mean, and my publisher's been very good about it. He's gone, well, okay, we'll do it. But have you seen the film World War Z or World War Z? Have you seen that with Brad Pitt? Do you know the scene in the aircraft where it decompresses and everything gets sucked out? That scene, do you know that scene? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it's like being an author, when everything inside gets sucked outside. I'm serious. It's like that. It's intense. You're there, and suddenly it's like, oh my God, and then push out. Everything's sucked out. And you're there holding on to dear life, going, have I done the right thing by throwing this grenade at the cabin? Have I done the right thing? And I'm questioning myself now, going, have I done the right thing? It's a transformative experience. So, going through Sakyant is a transformative experience, and publishing a book is a transformative experience as well. But I see it all a part of the same ongoing transformation. And that's what happens to you when you get Sakyant. You will change. It will change you. And as I said earlier, I see guys going out there and they get plastered and absolutely covered. And I said, look, please don't do that. Start small. It's like, I've said this previously, it's like buying a Porsche as your first car, as your first run around. You're gonna go off the road. You're gonna find it too much. It'll be way too much. The amount of power and energy that your body will be trying to process, you simply won't do it. So start small, and then build. I mean, there was this great teacher who's sadly no longer with us, Kruba Ponsit. He's taught many, many great adjuncts, and I'm regretful I never got to meet him. He would not give anyone more than 3 Sakyant at any one time. No more than 3. And I think that's a good benchmark, because they are very, very powerful. It's intense. The amount of magic in these, and also you have your part to play. And on the wall of Ajahn Deng's Samnak, it clearly states the rules of engagement. There are things that you have to bring to the table in order to hold the Sakyant on your body. There are things that you need to bring. And a lot of people don't want to talk about this, and I've actually talked about it in the book, because they don't want to think, oh, I have to behave in a way that's appropriate. What a downer, Well,
in the book, you had mentioned things like having to abstain from alcohol to maintain the power of the Sakyant itself. So there are other elements that an Ajahn might impose in kind of that regard.
It's very simple, Luke. It's called the 5 precepts, and the 5 precepts are there apart. And he has it on his wall, Ajahn Deng, remember to hold the 5 precepts. And if you fail to do that, then you need to go back to the Samnak and to have your sakyant re-blessed because of the defilements that are accrued when you cease holding the 5 precepts. Now, I can't go back to this, the Samnak because it's in Thailand. And I can't keep flying backwards and forwards if I happen to defile my sakyant. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I chant Namo Tatsa. And Namo Tatsa is a mantra that I can repeat, and that will cleanse the defilements that accrue. I mean, chanting as a part of Buddhism is something that I enjoy doing anyway. I chant morning, noon, and night, and it helps me to clear my mind, and it is a form of meditational absorption, which helps me to reach states, a number of different states of samadhi, of concentration. And I recommend meditation, but also chanting, because I just find it very helpful. Transcendental meditation is silent recitation of mantras, but this is not transcendental meditation. I vocalize the mantras or the katas, as they're called in Thailand, when I'm practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So the tattoo's meant to hold you to basic Buddhist principles, right? Killing, stealing. I mean, these are the precepts you're talking about, lying.
Yeah, the 5 precepts, actually there are 5 and there are 8 precepts. And I managed to practice one of the 8, which is not to sleep on a raised bed. And that's a peculiar one, but, I sleep on a futon. So it's the 8 are the first 5 and then 3 more. I can't do the full 8 because, I listen to music. I'm a musician. And that's one of them. Don't listen to music all the time. It's like, well, I do, actually. So I can't hold the 8. That's tough, and I produce music. So what are you going to do about it? I can't, it's a part of my life. There are some things that I cannot do, that I cannot uphold. I mean, monks, they hold 227 precepts. And I'm just trying to deal with 5. Right? So it's if you can hold 5, you're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
If you can hold as many as you can, and then, okay, I fell off the bike, I get back on again, and I start off again. There's no crime, okay? But being aware of it and being aware of the requirements of sakyant is a good thing. Many people are not comfortable having Buddhist blessings on their tattoos. And some people are actually now, which to me is kind of shocking because this is not a part of the tradition, is saying, oh, you don't necessarily have to have the blessing. Well, to be honest with you, it is a part of the entire experience. The blessing, the beginning, middle, and end. It is the ritual. If you want and that is my book as well. My book is about the experience, the full experience, a spiritual memoir on receiving sakyant.
So what's happening there? Is that Westerners, too many Westerners coming and they're trying to appease them by changing the ritual?
When Angelina Jolie had her sakyant by, I think his name is Ajahn Nu Kanpai, in her hotel room, he came to her and he was able to bless them appropriately. When that happened, it was like a bomb going off because one of the most famous women in the world had a very unusual form of tattooing done. And a number of things happened. Space-time kind of warped, and people started trying to accommodate beyond the realms of Sakyant, Western interest in this new form. So much so that some things were, there's a phrase that is bandied around, bamboo tattoo, right? This is a phrase. Come and get bamboo tattoo. Well, this phrase was a selling point which was created around the time Angelina Jolie had her Sakyant in 2003. There's no such thing. It's fake. It doesn't exist. So you see all these bamboo tattoo, shops appear, and they may well have a practitioner in there. But the thing is, it's not a real term. I mean, it's Thailand,
essentially like a marketing.
It's a marketing ploy. Yes. It just purely to accommodate the interest in Sakyant. So the Sakyant is applied with a metal rod called a KHEM, KHEM. The rod it's a non-negotiable thing as far as I'm concerned. However, having said that, Ajahn Deng uses the rod, and also he has this extraordinary bespoke tattoo gun, which he uses. But the process of application is exactly the same. And everything, the blessing, the consecrated ground, the chanting, at the end of each one, each Sakyant, he blesses the Sakyant using a substance called sompoi. And these are little pods which you can soak in water, and then they are there to cleanse the Sakyant as a finishing agent to finish off with. You just sprinkle it on. I have sompoi here at home, so I have my own supply of sompoi, and I can just heat up just a little water, lukewarm, and then put the sompoi in these pods, and it just sits in there, and then I have this substance, sompoi, to sprinkle on, if I need to, onto my Sakyant. It's a simple thing, but it pays dividends. I can't get out to Thailand very often, so there are things that I can do at home that can follow with the line of the tradition, that can make that as close to authentic practice as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be as close as I can make it.
It's feasible in the sense of it's, as you said, it's as close as you can make it, especially considering your location in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be realistic about it, Luke, and I'm all for being real. But it's if you can just, I think a friend of mine once said, you get out of it what you put into it. And I think with this, that's pretty much the same. You get out of it what you put into it.
So now Thai people, they've been getting these, you've said, for like centuries, yeah? Who's getting them today? Is men and women? What ages? I mean, who's the primary group who's going for these?
Across society, Rob, across society. I mean, it's remarkable how many different people are having it from all corners of life. At one time, I was going into Ajahn Deng's one time, and just as we were going in, there was this guy. He had an interview. He was a bike courier, and he was very stressed about the interview. He felt a bit nervous, but he went to see Ajahn Deng to talk to him about improving his speech, because he wanted to do well in the interview. So Ajahn Deng gave him a little kind of sakyant, tiny little sakyant on his throat, right there, to promote better speech, right there, to a refinement of speech, to give him charm and refinement in the speech, so that when he went for his interview, he would be able to impress the person that was interviewing him for the position. And he just literally came in, and then, I mean, I can't imagine having a throat tattoo, but he did it. And then he, I mean, just having a tattoo on your body, full stop, it's a mind-blowing experience. But he did it, and he put it there, and then off he went for the interview. And that it's a commonplace thing. It happens for many different reasons now, and just about anybody can get one.
I think a lot of people try to cover up their throat tattoos for a job interview, right, Luke?
I mean, it all depends on the job you're looking for.
All the job because
it's a different world.
I mean, it's a different world. It's a completely different cultural shift because it's all open. You see, the way Thailand is, I mean, I had a culture shock because it's just mind-expanding place. It's cosmic. It's terrifying. It's many, many things. It's extremely beautiful. But it's commercial, but it's not commercial. It's this, it's that. I mean, it's so many different things. It's if you've never been there, and I'd never been there until 2017. I got off the plane, and I was not the same person going back. I mean, going back the first time to Britain on the plane, I was. I went, I was out of my mind. I thought, some people actually, I spoke to one chap, he had a nervous breakdown when he went there. And he spoke Thai. He had very good Thai. And he said, I had a bit of a nervous breakdown. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, yeah, it's an intense experience. I'm predisposed to empathic sensory input, meaning I feel a lot more than I should do, and that is a blessing, and also it's not a blessing, and maybe it's part of being neurodivergent. I don't know, but I've been given this, and I deal with it. I have a strong intuitive sense, and if I sense something in a situation, there it is. So going through hardcore magical rituals, some of which contain all manner of things, having gold leaf placed on me, having fireballs fired at me. There's all kinds of extraordinary things that go on in the book, which I describe in detail, that happened over a 7-year period. And I just had to write it down, really, frankly. I had to impart it because I thought, well, nobody's going to believe me. And I did take notes. There's over 143 academic citations to support my fieldwork in this book. I've done my homework. But also there is fieldwork, meaning my experiences are embedded in the book. It is my story and what happened to me during this period of time. So, I'm not spared. I've not pulled any punches. It's all in there. I was looking at the book again today because I'm still getting used to the idea of being published. It's still kind of fresh to me. It's like
it's a new experience.
It's a totally new experience, Luke. I can't explain it to you unless, if you have you been. If you have been published, then I apologize.
No.
You probably know. You know what this is, but I implore you, do if you feel compelled to write. It's a freeing experience. It's a liberating experience to write, and it's a beautiful thing. Being a writer is a beautiful thing. It's a freeing thing. It's work, and I would say the editorial process was, it was like climbing Everest. It was, really quite an experience.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a part of publishing. And if you're lucky enough to find a publisher, or even many people publish themselves, and there's an incredible slew of books, excellent books, by people that have published themselves. Because today, now more than ever, you can do what the hell you like. You can go through an established publisher, or you can go through a self-publishing ethos. It doesn't matter as long as you engage in some meaningful manner.
Sheer, could you talk a little bit more about it? You know, your friend had the nervous breakdown. I mean, what are the expectations people bring to Thailand? I feel like Westerners are not perceiving this as a Buddhist country necessarily. I mean, I'm thinking like Murray Head, one night in Bangkok, right? Or even the White Lotus. It's this luxurious place full of, you know, sensual pleasures. But you're there for religious ritual. What are people getting wrong about Thailand before they go?
Well, you mentioned a couple of... that's the thing. When people cite cultural thumbnails of things, that's what they are. They're a thumbnail because it's a small aspect. Firstly, One Night in Bangkok is a song from a musical called Chess.
Yes, indeed.
And that was played to me by the author Miguel Connor, the author of The Occult Elvis, at the end of me speaking to him.
We know Miguel well, yes.
He's fabulous. We talked about that.
Uh-huh.
I said, yes, I remember it. And I hadn't heard it in years.
It's a
and
catchy
he played
tune.
it at the end of the show. I was like, my God, I haven't heard this for ages. And it's something that comes to people's minds. It's something people think about these things. Okay, yeah, and it's a great song. It's a great piece of music. It has a novelty value to it. But the thing is that, and also there are other things. The King and I, Yul Brynner.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, we have a view of Thailand which is through a lens that really is fleeting, because a lot of films right now are being made in Bangkok and Thailand. The industry, the film industry, I mean, my God, it's absolutely so many films are made in Thailand. Absolutely incredible what's being made there right now. And you mentioned the guy that had a nervous breakdown. Well, I think he had a nervous breakdown, this chap, and I don't want to insult him in any way. He's a lovely guy, and he has his own issues. But the thing is, if you are empathic or sensitive, and you pick up different things, there's a very large amount of spiritual activity that is apparent in Thailand. It is a very thick, rich, deeply spiritually active country. A lot of people are superstitious. In fact, a lot of people are very highly superstitious. But in the book, I suggest another meaning for superstitious. I look at the one meaning, superstitio, and that means practice outside normal worship. I mean, it's just practice, but it's outside of normal worship. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means it's outside normal worship, and it's an extra practice that you're undertaking. If you're hanging red shirts outside the porch, as they do in Thailand, you're just warding off untoward spirits. I had a spirit that attached itself to me, and Ajahn Apachai was able to remove it by using a fireball ritual. And he said, yes, you had something on you. And that spirit transpired as a form of chesty cough. I thought I was being affected by pollution. But, I go with Occam's razor. The most simplest and most straightforward explanation is probably the right one. Mm-hmm. And I saw it, this cough that I had, a hacking, constant, spider-like cough on my chest. And he said, you had something on you. It's gone now. And he didn't know I wasn't coughing around him when he did this, but he said, I did see something and it's taken care of. And after the ritual, and I don't know if it's auto-suggestion or whether the magic is real. I think the magic is real, that I no longer had this cough. There are many, many hidden things in Thailand. And each country as well, across the world, has its own spirit. You know, we all have spirits. I was talking with someone about, you know, again, possibly with Miguel, you know, he said, it's a very exotic place, isn't it? And I said, well, you know where you are now in Central America. You know, that to me is exotic. In fact, if we each look at each other's places, we all are in exotic places. I mean, someone somewhere can look at this place, look at Bristol and go, that's exotic. And I'm living here and I'm going, well, I don't think it's exotic. But then the other day I looked down and there's an alleyway and it's like, oh, that alleyway's kind of a bit liminal and a bit weird. And so I take a look again at where I live. And yes, it is. I mean, there's an alley in Bristol. It's a short alley. You won't believe its name. It's Zed Alley. And I took a picture of it there once, and people just thought it was hilarious because, you know. I mean, but that's the thing about Bristol. It's unusual. It's an unusual place with many different aspects to it. Some which I'm still learning about. My late mother, was born here. So it's an interesting place. And I think all places have their own spirits, their own meaningfulnesses, their own, their own specialness, really. I mean, everywhere is interesting as far as I'm concerned. And I've traveled to many different places on this planet, and each place has something special about it. And I think it was John Pilger, the writer John Pilger in The Journey, said, the best part of going away is coming back, because that is when you see everything anew with new eyes. You see everything afresh. And that is the journey, is coming back, coming home. And Thailand is one of the most beautiful, extraordinary countries in the world. And going there to get Sakyan is possibly one of the most important things in my life to date. My life has been pretty filled with turmoil and chaos, but this is one of the best things I've ever done with my life.
So without sending swaths of our listeners to Thailand, would you recommend following kind of in your footsteps? Not saying that we have to have listeners convert to Buddhism, but just to experience Thailand as itself, to kind of have this opportunity to fully, even to just get a small portion of what you experienced.
I say read my book. I know that sounds like a cheap get out, but please read my book and then think about it.
I think it's a great start. I mean,
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
read the book.
Read my book.
If it hooks you, go for it.
It may not be for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not be for everyone. I mean, going away. I mean, the British press is filled with many instances of people going to Thailand and never coming back. And some people, they don't have travel insurance. They go over there. I mean, you may as well jump out of a plane without a parachute, frankly. You may as well do that. It's the same thing. You do need to be covered. And I'm grateful that I survived, you know. I'm grateful that I went backwards and forwards on 4 times, and in the middle of pandemic, and my entire family around me died. I'm now without a family, but I am in another place right now. And the message I want to impart to people, there is hope. And you can transform yourself, your life and your existence, by following your intuition. And that's my message. Follow your intuition. It doesn't have to be Thailand. It doesn't have to be that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an inkling, if you have the ability to take note of any spiritual breadcrumbs that are being shown to you, and you say, oh, that kind of links up with that, and that links up with that. So you make the decision. Because that's, you know, I don't want to take away from you the capacity to think and feel something that's important to you. That's not my intention. But if you feel a sense of a sense that you could feel that something could happen for you by doing this, then fine. But read my book first, and then think about it. Sleep on it, as they say.
Yeah.
There are many different things that people can do, and being quiet and sitting quietly and meditating is one of them. And that's why I begin each of my days in silence. And then I chant. And then I think, right, what's next? I take it a day at a time. We all have worlds within us, and how we access these worlds is for us to come to terms with and understand. We are all different beings. We have different feelings, and what may come through the inner planes for you may not be the same as someone else. You may well have a camaraderie with someone and go, yeah, we connect, and that's great, that's special. But it doesn't mean that it's your way, your pathway. A pathway in spirituality is a very personal thing. And I wouldn't want to, I'm walking a pathway and I've written a book about it. So I guess I was serious enough to do that and lucky enough to survive it and to talk to you about it today. It's something that doesn't happen for everyone. And I understand it's a rare thing. Not every day this happens. I understand that. And I don't want to sound complacent ever, because I'm extremely grateful to be alive still. It's because I just see the reports in the papers. I see people, they have terrible hospital bills and they have no insurance and they're trapped in Thailand. I see it so many times, So just make sure if you do decide to go that you have full coverage, and if it gets to it, you can just get on the phone and go exfil, exfil, exfil. You get pulled out of there. Like seriously, a natural disaster, earthquake, anything can happen.
Yeah. Just be prepared moving into
seriously
that direction.
Be prepared, yeah, before you consider doing this. But pre-planning as well, make sure you know what you're doing and have some kind of understanding of what you are considering doing. If it's that, if it's something else, just do your research. I wish I'd done that, and that's why another reason I've written the book. I wish I'd done more research. I've been studying Buddhism up to that point, but it still wasn't enough to fully understand the entire, the whole experience. I mean, you're going into a subtropical climate, and the humidity is intense, and it'll knock your socks off if you're not used to that. I mean, I've come from a North Atlantic climate. I mean, I can feel the delineation of my skin. In Thailand, in subtropical Thailand, that disappears, and you're just, you feel connected with everything. You can't feel the delineation of your skin. I mean, you can feel your skin, but the heat, it connects you with everything. And you feel like you're in a sauna. And then you step into a 7-Eleven, and you think that's kind of a mundane thing to do, but 7-Elevens in Thailand are a completely different animal than 7-Elevens in the States. I mean, it's like a treasure box. I mean, the AC in a Thai 7-Eleven is absolutely amazing. You just go in there and you're instantly frozen. It's beautiful. It sounds crazy, but it's true. You just go in there just for the AC.
On the note of kind of finding our path, finding our journey.
Yeah.
Occasionally ending up in the 7-Eleven for the air conditioning.
Yes, please. and those little prawn balls that are squid flavored. they're like crack, you know. I'm serious. These are, I mean, not that I've taken crack. I don't do that. But I'm saying in culinary
But you've had
terms,
the prawn balls, and it's basically the same. I hear you.
the prawn balls, the rice squid, they're rice balls that are squid flavored. I couldn't stop eating them. I can't buy them over here.
I mean, these all seem like pretty superb recommendations. Aside from your book, Thai Tattoo Magic, where else can we find you?
Linktree, Sheer Zed.
Awesome.
Right, that has all my links. Everything's there. Linktree, Sheer Zed, SheerzEd, or ZED if you are American.
This has been a great conversation, Sheer Zed.
It really has.
Really good time. I appreciate you sharing this all with us.
No, that's my pleasure, Rob and Luke. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you both. And thank you very much for having me on Occult Confessions. I have confessed to you in the occult.
In the occult.